For a family so focused on beauty, the Trumps have had more than a few makeup fails. But that just sometimes happens when you're always in the spotlight.
For better or worse, Donald Trump's orange makeup is one of the defining presidential looks of the 21st century. Here's the question though, what does he look like without it? Donald Trump chose not to wear makeup when he hit the golf course in July 2022. And, well, he certainly looked different. Instead of its usual shade of orange, Trump's face was red and blotchy with visible signs of sun damage. The latter is hardly surprising, given his inordinate time on the green. The Washington Post estimated that Trump played 261 rounds of golf during his one term in office, compared to Barack Obama, who played 333 during his two. Trump's red and blotchy complexion was likely the result of a rosacea flare-up. According to the American Academy of Dermatology, sunlight and hairspray are common triggers for rosacea flare-ups, two things Trump clearly holds dear to his heart. Trump's private physician, Dr. Harold Bornstein, opened up about his patient's rosacea in a February 2017 interview with the New York Times, sharing that he had prescribed long-acting tetracycline to treat the condition. Bornstein also revealed that Trump takes finasteride, brand name Propecia, a prostate-related drug that's also used to treat male pattern baldness. Shooting down speculation that Trump wears a toupee or has undergone a surgical transplant, Bornstein insisted he has all his hair. Donald Trump looked uncharacteristically natural in November 2023 when he chose to offer up some of his patented alternative facts.
Kim Reynolds of Iowa has gone from a popular governor to the most unpopular governor in the entire United States of America.
Quick fact check on that one, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves held his position with an approval rating of 48% compared to Reynolds' 54%. Perhaps because there was no orange bronzer in sight to distract anyone, Trump looked unusually tired and worn. The beauty police shared their thoughts on X, formerly Twitter. One person wrote, "Looks like fighting 4 court cases and running for president is starting to take a toll on him. I guess that's why most 77-year-olds don't do either, let alone both at the same time." Another said, "Trump looks like he should be on a rascal scooter at Magic Kingdom." Meanwhile, Trump has blamed environmentally friendly light bulbs for causing his orange hue. He expanded on the issue while addressing criticism of his plan to weaken regulations on bulbs. Speaking to an audience of Republican legislators in a 2019 speech in Baltimore, Trump insisted that energy-saving bulbs give off a light that's no good. He added,
I always look orange. And so do you. The light is the worst.
Donald Trump dialed down the orange once again for a February 2018 press-op at the White House. Still, despite his face looking a normal color, his hair was anything but. Trump's tresses appeared to be an alarming nicotine yellow at the event, sprayed back in a rock-hard, duck-style flat coif. Trump loves to boast about being the biggest and best in all and everything, so it's hardly surprising that he believes he's top of the crop looks-wise too. Trump shared this exact opinion while slamming a critic's claim that Vice President Kamala Harris is more attractive than he is. Apparently, this critic had claimed that Harris, in their words, a beautiful woman, held this as a strong advantage over Trump. Speaking to the crowd at an August 2024 campaign stop in Pennsylvania, Trump responded,
But I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person.
Some would beg to differ on this, however.
Just so you know, man, just because you wear more makeup than Kamala doesn't mean you look better.
Donald Trump ditched the grease paint before boarding his presidential plane Air Force One in February 2018. His face was a rosy red as he waved to the pack of reporters at the White House. However, it was not Trump's makeup-free visage that had everyone talking, but his flyaway hair. The then-president's tresses were caught in the wind, blowing upwards and exposing his balding scalp. Trump's hair loss was even more visible when he turned to walk up the plane's steps, with the breeze lifting the back of his hair up in the air too. Perhaps unsurprisingly, internet commenters couldn't help cracking wise about Trump's airfield hair disaster. One user wrote on X, "That's one draft he couldn't dodge," while another said, "This is like seeing Vader without his helmet for a moment in Empire Strikes Back." And of course, late-night hosts couldn't resist making a joke about Trump's bad hair day either.
It's like a mullet, except no one showed up to the party in the back.
Looks like he's flying with an emotional support animal.
Is anyone else kind of relieved that there wasn't a face in the back of his head?
A makeup-free Donald Trump was back on the golf course in May 2023. This time, he hit his Turnberry course in Scotland. Trump was prepared for the chilly and breezy weather, bundled up in a cozy fleece and a red MAGA cap to ensure no embarrassing flyaway hair snafus. Surprisingly, given Trump's usual love of foundation and powder, he had expressed his appreciation for going makeup-free in a bizarre rant in 2016. Trump was talking about immigration in New Hampshire when he began riffing about how women in Iraq want to wear burqas. The fact is, it's easier. You don't have to put on makeup. Look how beautiful everyone looks. Wouldn't it be easier, right? Wouldn't that be easy? Unfortunately, Trump doesn't have any burqas in his wardrobe, so he has to continue with the makeup for now. And haters are gonna hate for as long as he does. In March 2024, Midas Touch editor Ron Filipkowski posted a photo on X showing a serious makeup fail by Trump. He captioned it, "Looking great tonight." Commenters immediately weighed in, with one writing, "His orange face paint matches his orange dyed hair that he evidently didn't notice," which then contrasts nicely with the bloodless gray skin where he didn't quite get the orange paint. Another joked, like he fell face first into a pumpkin.
As the daughter of the 45th President of the United States, Ivanka Trump is everywhere. We usually see her glammed up with a full face of makeup, wearing expensive clothes, while standing supportively alongside her father, Donald Trump, at rallies, White House events, business gatherings, and so on. Even on her own Instagram, it's quite difficult to find a photo where Ivanka has a hair out of place. Of course, this clean look is typical of someone working in the White House.
Politics is a tough business.
As a result, it might shock you to learn that Ivanka is on the list of many public figures who believe the makeup-free look is best. To prove this, the businesswoman-turned-politician has taken to Instagram in toned-down videos, which gave us a glimpse of a more natural version of Ivanka that you might not be accustomed to seeing behind all of that makeup. The mom of three has posted makeup-light videos on Instagram more than once, using each as a dash of inspiration for her followers. In the first video, posted in March 2020, Ivanka Trump has her hair tied back in a loose bun and wears a plain gray crewneck sweater. In the clip, she alerts people about the safety precautions needed during the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. Along with the video, she wrote in the caption, "In these toughest of times, America shows her spirit and strength. This will end and we will emerge stronger than ever before. In the meantime, social distancing saves lives." In the second video, shared in April 2020, her hair is casual and she's wearing a plain black zip-up jacket. She reminds small business owners that they are the backbone of America and are supported by her father's administration. In both videos, Ivanka shows her confidence by sharing a message to her millions of followers with a low makeup look. Her skin appears radiant and blemish-free, and her eyes shine bright under her well-maintained eyebrows. Basically, her face looks flawless, but Ivanka has made it clear that she supports both toned-down and more glamorous looks. It's actually surprising that Ivanka doesn't share more natural snaps of her face, considering she preaches to her daughter Arabella that it's what's on the inside that counts. She explained to New Beauty, "It's crucial to me to impart to Arabella that confidence, strength, and grace are what really makes a woman beautiful. The makeup and skincare are fun, but it's who you are as a person that matters the most." However, Trump does admit that she has had a fascination with makeup since she was a child. She revealed during an interview with the Oprah magazine, "I used to love sitting on the bathroom floor in my pajamas and watching my mother get ready for an event. She'd stand in front of her vanity and apply bright red and blue makeup." It's clear that Ivanka likes playing with makeup, but appreciates a clean face. Like many others out there, she isn't afraid to show off both. So how does she keep her face so fresh and clean? Ivanka Trump sticks to a straightforward skincare regimen to keep her healthy skin glowing. While we often see her in full glam, you might be surprised to learn Ivanka gets her day-to-day makeup done in a super speedy 8 minutes when she applies it herself in the morning. During the day, the first daughter also hydrates her skin by drinking ample water. She shared with Harper's Bazaar in 2014, "It's an ongoing joke in the office that I never have less than 3 glasses of water and some form of tea or coffee in front of me." The first thing Ivanka does as soon as she walks through the door at the end of a productive day is wash all the makeup away. As she told Harper's Bazaar, "The minute I walk into the house, that's what I do. I wash my face, I take off all my makeup, and I feel sort of in my natural state, if you will." She treats her skin to moisturizers and tries to stick with organic products too. Plus, Ivanka's #1 rule is so important. As she told Oat Living, "Take off your makeup before bed, no matter what." Words to live by.
On August 22nd, dehydration and terrible makeup conspired to make it look like Donald Trump's face was melting. We asked a makeup artist what was going on and got a surprising answer. Donald Trump is no stranger to bad makeup days, but his blotchy appearance at a campaign stop in Arizona really takes the cake. He could definitely have benefited from the icing-like layers of foundation the women around him seem to love caking on. However, borrowing some of the makeup that Kimberly Guilfoyle is so heavy-handed with wouldn't have completely solved his problem. Trump's skin looked as parched as the Arizona desert and as splotchy and rusty as the steel beams of the border wall behind him. He was there to contrast his border policy with that of his rival Kamala Harris, but all some people noticed was the contrast between his bronze makeup and pink skin. One ex-user tweeted, "What the hell happened to him? The sun or his tan? His skin looks like it burning off."
I don't have thin skin. I have very strong, very thick skin.
Another person posted, "Trump's manly orange makeup is melting during his Arizona visit. Don't zoom in." He was also compared to SpongeBob SquarePants when the cartoon character's absorbent, porous hide gets all dried out. Nicki Swift spoke exclusively to professional hair and makeup artist Luna Viola about what exactly is going on with Trump's dapple dermis, and she agreed that he's likely suffering from a lack of moisture, saying, "Donald's skin looks very dehydrated with an uneven skin tone. This is due to a combination of poor diet, hormones, and environmental factors like the weather."
We have pizzas, we have 300 hamburgers, many French fries.
Thanks to former White House press secretary Stephanie Grisham, we know that one of Donald Trump's main makeup concerns is shine. In her memoir, "I'll Take Your Questions Now, What I Saw at the Trump White House," Grisham recalls her ex-boss once asking to borrow some of her powder when he started to glisten too much. Grisham also confirmed that Trump's orange complexion comes from makeup. While taking better care of his skin won't take the tangerine tint out of Donald's foundation, Viola told Nicki Swift that a little pampering would at least improve the texture of his chapped-looking hide, explaining, "If the skin is very dry, it won't be a great canvas for makeup, so extra prep to hydrate the skin first is a must." Techniques to correct his makeup would be cleansing the skin with a mineral-infused water, then applying a hydrating mask, followed by a rich moisturizer. If Donald is spending any time with Melania these days, he might try raiding her beauty supplies. Viola advised Donald to keep using translucent powder and offered a tip on how to even out the blotchiness that made him a social media laughingstock, saying, "I would use a light fluid medium coverage concealer to correct the redness. It might also help Donald keep his eye bags from clashing with his tan." When makeup artist Jason Kelly was hired to make politicians look camera ready for the 2016 Republican National Convention, he revealed his game plan for dealing with the pale halos around Donald Trump's eyes, telling Harper's Bazaar, "I'll use a slightly deeper color and blend it into his tan, so there's not an abrupt contrast."
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation.
However, it's doubtful that Kelly got to test this technique. According to former assistant to the president, Alyssa Farah Griffin, there's a reason Trump's makeup can look too sloppy to be the work of a pro. He considers his canvas far too precious for anyone else to paint on. Griffin told the One Decision podcast, "You don't touch the Donald Trump face." Jimmy Kimmel found this hilarious, saying he'd love to see Trump film a vlog about how exactly he creates his baffling beauty look.
He dips a pillow in cheese dust and just starts whacking himself in the face with it.
He suggested that any makeup artist responsible for Trump's look wouldn't have a job for long, but if Trump had a problem with his skin resembling a pumpkin that's been rubbed down with sandpaper, wouldn't he have experimented with a different beauty routine long ago?
Tiffany Trump is not quite as present in the media eye as her siblings Donald Jr., Ivanka, Eric, or even the youngest Trump, Barron. As the only child from Trump's marriage to his second wife, actress and model Marla Maples, for the most part, Tiffany leads a relatively under-the-radar existence. Still, while she's nowhere near as keen to do interviews or make public statements as her brothers and sister, Tiffany's hardly a shrinking violet. If her high-glam look is any indication, she has the same unshakable addiction to bling, glitz, and glamour as her dad.
Tiffany is great. I love Tiffany.
Although she grew up on the laid-back West Coast and didn't quite inherit the same approach to life that her New York-based siblings did, the former member of the now-defunct Rich Kids of Instagram account and one-time Vogue intern still knows how to pull a look together and how to get her face beat with the finest cosmetics and tools money can buy. Achieving the pitch-perfect mug Tiffany's usually seen with requires skill, expert hands, and, oh yes, a whole lot of pricey products if she's to appear as flawless as she looks on television and Instagram. Without makeup, though, the president's daughter is hardly recognizable. Tiffany isn't the type who favors a pared-down look for her public appearances. Most often, Donald's youngest daughter tends to gravitate toward heavily lined eyes, luscious lashes, and a lipstick that draws attention to her plump lips. As photos of her without makeup show, there's a major difference between camera-ready Tiffany and Tiffany au naturel. Pictures of her without makeup aren't exactly abundant, but they are out there, and one such glimpse of her fresh face came via an artsy video she shot hot back in 2015. Tiffany bared her soul and makeup-free face for an art project named Confessional from photographer Scott Nathan. More than 100 other women took part in the series, including Tiffany's mother. In the black and white video, Tiffany stares into the camera while jazz plays in the background. The idea was to strip away artifice and foster empathy, but it also offers a clear, crisp look at what Tiffany looks like without all the help of beauty enhancers. As it turns out, all the powder, eyeliner, lipstick, and shadow she typically piles on covers up an attractive face. Like the rest of us, Tiffany has some dark circles and bags around her eyes that mercifully get whisked away with the help of a good concealer, but she has got a gorgeous pair of eyes to work with. Likewise, plenty of people pay good money to get the bountiful lips she has been blessed with, and her strong jawline gives her a natural contour that's like a playground for a makeup artist who usually has to invent one with brushes and lots of effort. But we shouldn't get used to the sight of Tiffany without her beauty regimen. As evidenced by her 27th birthday celebration in Miami, during which People magazine reported that she partied for a week, the Georgetown Law School grad hit dinners, clubs, and Miami Beach with her signature high-maintenance look on, because that's how this Trump girl rolls. Despite her polished look, Tiffany may not have always been that savvy when it comes to employing her own glam squad. Back in 2017, Tiffany and her mother made headlines when, according to the Washington Post, they reportedly asked a hairstylist named Trisha Kelly to prep their hair and makeup for Inauguration Day. Typically, this kind of high-pressure job, which would mean millions of eyeballs on the professional's work, would cost several $1,000s. But mom and daughter offered Kelly the job in exchange for exposure, another way of saying no pay. Astonishingly, they had only budgeted $300 for hair and makeup. Whether Tiffany's lowball offer was something she learned from her dad's notorious negotiation tactics or her own naivete about the celebrity styling world, it's clear that she was not quite used to dealing with makeup artists in the big leagues. However, judging by the glossy look Tiffany has grown into, that has since changed.
Let's talk about Donald Trump's hair.
Hey, it's mine. It may not be pretty, but it's mine.
Many strange claims have been made about Donald Trump's hair and why it looks the way it does.
Barbara Walters interviewed me 2 years ago, and she said, "Is that really your hair?"
Eventually, Trump's hair almost seemed to become an entity of its own, one with a vague resemblance to a varmint of some sort. Earlier in his real estate career, though, it wasn't the much discussed curiosity it has become today. When the New York Times profiled Trump in 1984, all that columnist William E. Geist found noteworthy about his hair was its length, which Geist described as an anomaly among executives of the era. That same year, journalist Graydon Carter noted Trump's shaggy eyebrows and the slicked-down hair covering his ears. In a piece for GQ, Carter compared Trump's hair to that of the late George Steinbrenner during his more hirsute days. By the late 80s, Trump seemed to be competing with his then-wife Ivana Trump to see who could cultivate the tallest hairstyle. At the 1988 US Open Tennis Championships, Trump looked like a cross between Elvis Presley and Al Pacino in Scarface, with his thick sideburns, pompadour throwback, partially unbuttoned collared shirt, and crisp blazer.
Say hello to my little friend!
It's entirely possible that he was actually trying to channel the king of rock and roll, as in 2024, he took to Instagram to claim, "For so many years, people have been saying that Elvis and I look alike." Sebastian Stan scored an Academy Award nomination for his portrayal of Donald Trump in the 2024 movie The Apprentice. One of the film's most controversial scenes is based on an account Ivana Trump shared in a divorce deposition. Under oath, Ivana alleged that an enraged Trump had raped her in 1989 after he underwent botched scalp reduction surgery. Ivana's plastic surgeon, Dr. Stephen Hofflin, reportedly performed the procedure to surgically remove Trump's bald spot. In his book Lost Tycoon, Harry Hurt III wrote, "The Donald starts ripping out Ivana's hair by the handful as if he is trying to make her feel the same kind of pain that he is feeling." In one of the book's footnotes, though, Ivana walks back her claim, saying, "I referred to this as a rape, but I do not want my words to be interpreted in a literal or criminal sense." Hurt shares other details of Trump's cosmetic procedure in his book, writing that Hofflin covered up what remained of his bald spot by tattooing it. Trump is described as having been furious because the ink was darker than his hair. Of course, he has since insisted that none of this happened. After Ivana Trump divorced Donald Trump in 1990, he reportedly became reclusive and soon stopped cutting his hair. According to Vanity Fair, when a friend compared him to famed film producer Howard Hughes, Trump took it as a compliment, saying, "Thanks, I admire him."
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Trump's hair was still shaggy in 1991 when he attended the US Open with his second wife, Marla Maples. Notably, around this time, Trump discovered Just for Men. The boxed hair dye hit drugstore shelves in the late 80s, and it allowed Trump to bleach the ashiness out of his blonde hair from the comfort of his home. According to author Michael Wolff, Trump rarely left the dye on long enough, which is where his hair's distinctive yellow tint came from. In his book Fire and Fury, Wolff outs Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, as the one who spilled this beauty secret. He also claims Ivanka has allegedly told her friends that her dad's comb-over hides a huge bald spot. Due to a ban on CFC-based aerosol hairsprays in the late 80s, Donald Trump could no longer use his favorite styling product to tame his mane. Years later, he'd bemoan the state of modern hairsprays on the campaign trail.
And then it comes out in big globs, right? And you're stuck in your hair and you say, oh my God, I gotta take a shower again. My hair's all screwed up.
And sure enough, Trump's hair started looking a bit deflated after the ban took effect. In 1997, he was photographed planting a kiss on the reigning Miss Universe at the time, Alicia Machado. But the wings over his ears were looking a lot moister than his lips. It's possible he was experimenting with a new spray or gel that he hadn't yet figured out how to properly apply. In the early aughts, Donald Trump's trademark hair overhang started teetering forward, coming dangerously close to touching his eyebrows, which were stretching toward it in Grinch-like arches.
Gaze into the face of fear.
In 2004, hairstylist John Mackling told the Los Angeles Times that this hairstyle wasn't actually a comb-over, but a wraparound. He explained that creating the wraparound look is a more intricate process, as the hair has to be swirled in front of the forehead. Trump dedicated an entire chapter of his 2004 book, Trump: How to Get Rich, to his hair. He reiterates that he doesn't wear a hairpiece, but says it's something he would consider doing in future. When explaining why, he writes, "I, like most men, am very vain." That same year, Trump answered a few burning questions fans might have about his hair in an interview with Playboy. He revealed that his then-girlfriend, Melania Trump, was responsible for cutting it, saying, "She's much more artistic than my hair would indicate. She's not trying to reinvent the wheel." Trump also shared that his hair's crunchy appearance is not the result of blasting it with a blow-dryer, as he prefers to let it air-dry. He said, "It takes about an hour. Once it's dry, I comb it. Once I have it the way I like it, even though nobody else likes it, I spray it and it's good for the day." By the time he joined The Apprentice, Donald Trump had adopted the hairstyle that most people probably picture when they think of him. An airy tuft jutting out over his temple that resembles a clump of sun-baked vegetation. According to Amy Lash, a hairstylist who worked on The Apprentice, Trump's crispy coif was a mess of his own making. She told the Mirror, "Everything was solid. It was matted to stay put. I tapped it with my comb and it would bounce back." Lash also criticized Melania Trump's handiwork, saying of her at-home hack job on the back of Trump's hair, "It was scary. It was just cut in a straight line." While Trump seemed determined to keep his bouffant in place, a top layer flaked off at the 2004 Emmy Awards, allowing the sun to highlight its frayed fibers. That same year, he appeared on Larry King Live and said he was well aware that Apprentice viewers hated his hair, but suggested that the show's ratings might take a nosedive if he tried changing it.
The show has gotten great reviews. I've gotten great reviews. Everything's gotten great reviews except for one thing, my hair.
Donald Trump and Melania Trump's 2005 wedding was a star-studded affair, but Trump didn't want to spend too much of his own money on the lavish event. Before getting hitched, he shared one savings secret with the Sunday Times: "I'll do my own hair, unfortunately for the world." By the time he'd settled into his third marriage, Trump had clearly perfected his procedure for curling his long fringe into a neat tube. His hair often resembled a buttery croissant, without a flaky flyaway to be seen. This was his go style in 2006, the year Stormy Daniels claimed Trump had an extramarital affair with her. According to comedian Seth Rogen, who worked with Daniels on some of his movies, she once related to him a conversation she and Trump had about his hair.
He said to her that he had a dream like Samson and Delilah, and that he felt as though his power rested in his hair.
According to Daniels, this biblically inspired belief is why Trump is so afraid to change his look. Describing his hair care routine to Rolling Stone in 2011, Donald Trump revealed, "Okay, what I do is wash it with Head and Shoulders." He also said that we've all been using the wrong term to describe his hairstyle, adding, "It's not really a comb-over, it's sort of a little bit forward and back." Trump stuck with the hairstyle for his Comedy Central roast that same year, when he mused on the difference between his hair and a wet raccoon.
A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion in the bank.
Later on Jimmy Kimmel Live, comedian Jeff Ross said that Trump hadn't loved that joke to begin with, not because it compared him to a drenched, dumpster-diving animal, but because it had originally placed his value at a mere $2 billion. During his 2024 hush money trial, Donald Trump's hairstyle looked even worse than usual. It resembled the scribbling of an angry toddler, and the color had reverted back to that unnatural yellow hue. A source told Page Six that this processed cheese tint was the result of Trump refusing to listen to his hairdresser's recommendation for how long to leave his hair dye on. The insider explained, "Friends say he's so impatient that he rarely gives the stylist the 30 to 45 minutes. The shorter time he gives them, the more orange his hair gets." A shot of Trump's hair from behind revealed his bald spot during the trial, despite past efforts to make his locks lush again. In 2017, Dr. Harold N. Bornstein told the New York Times that Trump was taking the hair regrowth drug Propecia. 2 months after the closing arguments in his hush money trial, Trump himself admitted that his mane was looking a bit sad. Upon seeing his hair on a screen, he told a crowd of supporters in Michigan,
That's very severe, that comb over. That's a severe sucker. What's with that one?
When Donald Trump convinced America to let him back into the White House in 2025, his hair transformed into a fluffy cloud floating high over his brow. But it was looking more wispy cirrus than puffy cumulus. And certain photos showed a lot of scalp peeking out from the large gaps between his teased tresses. Meanwhile, fans got to see what Trump would look like with a sleek hair makeover when he removed his MAGA hat after a round of golf in 2024. Still, there are some benefits to being the most powerful man on Earth. While Trump can't make his hair spring back into place after stuffing it underneath a hat, he did manage to take revenge against weak showerheads after spending years complaining about how water efficiency standards had affected his hair. In 2020, he'd said,
My hair, I don't know about you, but it has to be perfect.
One of the first executive orders Trump signed in 2025 deregulated flow efficiency on showerheads. So, with any luck, he'll now be able to get the bracing blast of water pressure he needs to remove all that hairspray.
If you know, you know, but if you don't, know this. For some, Trump and his team are committing the ultimate makeup sin here. The 2000s era trend known as concealer lips, which involves replacing your usual lip products with concealer.
Actual footage of me using concealer and clear lip gloss on my lips every single day for years.
Only Trump and the members of his elite beauty squad know which product, if any, was used on his lips prior to sitting down with Dr. Phil. But judging from close-ups of his mouth during the interview, it sure looks like his lips are covered in concealer.
These are very dishonest people that we're dealing with.
Back in the 2000s, celebs of all stripes went for a nude lip look, sometimes using concealer. Even huge stars like Rihanna were on board with this minimalist trend. Makeup artist Sharonda Edwards told Bustle in 2023 that the look went out of style for good reason, saying, "Back then, it was used all over the lips, which left them looking undefined and non-existent."
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of hatred.
But Edwards adds that just a bit of concealer in the center of your lips can add the illusion of extra volume and a nice ombre effect.
Last but not least, I'm gonna do the cherry on top, which is a tiny, tiny dot of concealer. I'm just gonna put that right in the center.
This isn't the first time Trump's been called out for his pale pout. Back in 2016, Cosmopolitan reported on a makeup tutorial trend called Trumping, which involved YouTubers mocking Trump's appearance by aping his signature look, orange hues, and pale concealer lips.
You want to make sure that it looks like you've been running your mouth all day.
As for his orange hue, Omarosa Manigault Newman claimed in her book Unhinged, an insider's account of the Trump White House, that her former boss had his own personal tanning bed, writing, "He prefers to do it in the morning so he looks good all day." And in 2023, Cassidy Hutchinson, a former Trump White House aide, wrote in her memoir Enough that Trump's hesitance to wear masks during the COVID-19 pandemic was makeup-related. She wrote, "The president pulled the mask off and asked why I thought he should not wear it. I pointed at the straps of the N95 I was holding. When he looked at the straps of his mask, he saw they were covered in bronzer." Donald Trump had a laid-back, makeup-free weekend on the golf course, and yeah, he wasn't looking his best. We can all thank pro golfer Brad Faxon for giving us a full-on, unobstructed look at the president's pasty visage. In a photo posted by the athlete on Instagram on April 5th, we see Trump rocking a white golf shirt and a red MAGA hat while flashing a giant smile for the camera. One follower summed up the president's look as such: "This is just cringe. Old man looks like a wax statue." Not only were people quick to rip on Trump for his appearance, they also had fun dunking on his golf game after he posted an 8-second clip of himself teeing off on Truth Social. The footage was reshared on X, where a large swath of those who would never dream of creating a Truth Social account blasted his form. One person wrote, "Damn, dude, I might have felt a little better if it was a good swing." The roasting continued when Laura Loomer tweeted that Trump had won the senior golf championship that weekend. After seeing footage of his awkward swing, people bashed Trump's golf course behavior and questioned whether he actually won. One person wrote, "It's easy to win when you cheat." Another joked, 18 under par was his score apparently, multiple holes in one.
It's fake, phony, fake.
This isn't the first time Trump went makeup-free on the golf course this year. On March 2nd, Lara Trump shared an Instagram photo of the president wearing a white golf shirt and matching baseball cap while addressing the Mar-a-Lago crowd with Elon Musk by his side. Unsurprisingly, he got trashed online when photos from the event were shared on X. Referencing Trump's makeup, one person commented, "Christ, maybe he should wear it after all." Another person wrote, "He looks like death warmed over." It's strange that Trump, who obviously cares a lot about his appearance, would continually opt for a makeup-free look during these outings. Sure, they're not public addresses or press conferences, but there are still plenty of photographers trained on him. So what's the deal with his makeup? Well, there's no way to know for sure what exactly he applies to his face. Being that he would never publicly admit it, people have some pretty solid theories. One such theory comes courtesy of makeup artist Safia Cox. She told The Mirror, "I think it's some sort of fake tan or some sort of tinted moisturizer with bronzer, and he's then used powder with it. It's definitely some sort of cream product that he uses and has probably mattified it after because it's so orange." She went on to elaborate, "You can see the rim around his face. If you look closely at his hairline, it's very pale. And that's not from sunbeds. He's slapping some sort of cream product on." She also made a point to note that his orangeness seems to change depending on what's going on in his life. She said, "He has pictures taken of him and cameras on him a lot, so he must think it's a good look, and some people say when he's stressed he uses more tan. If you look at photos of him towards the end of campaigns, he's much more orange."
Interesting observation.
Does anyone have any theories about what specific product he might be using? You could say that. Back in 2019, The Washington Post published a sprawling piece about Trump's immigration policies, and buried deep within the text is a single sentence that seems to reveal the truth. It comes courtesy of undocumented workers who shared their stories about working for the Trump Organization with the outlet. Since they were often tasked with tending to Trump's most basic needs, they had quite a bit to say about what he demanded of them day in and day out. After revealing that he wanted, quote, 2 full containers of white Tic Tacs and 1 half full in his bedroom at all times, the outlet noted, the same rule applied to the Bronx Colors brand face makeup from Switzerland that Trump slathered on, 2 full containers, 1 half full, even if it meant the housekeepers had to regularly bring new shirts from the pro shop because of the rust-colored stains on the collars. Could this really be it? We'll never know for sure, but the fact that they name-dropped something so specific is pretty damning.